Chinatown MRT Station. Chinatown MRT Station is an underground mass rapid transit MRT interchange station on the Northeast NEL and Downtown DTL lines in Outram, Singapore. It serves the ethnic enclave of Chinatown. Situated at the junction of Eu Tong Sen Street, New Bridge Road, and Upper Cross Street, the station is near several landmarks, including the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple, Masjid Jamae, Chulia, Chinatown Point and People's Park Complex. First announced as People's Park MRT Station in March 1996, the NEL station was one of the most challenging projects undertaken during that line's construction. It involved multiple diversions of the main roads and the Eu Tong Sen Canal, in addition to the preservation of the Garden Bridge. The NEL station was completed on June 20, 2003. In March 2007, it was announced that the NEL will interchange with the DTL at this station. The DTL platforms of the station opened on December 22, 2013 as part of Stage 1 of the line. Each of the 6 entrances has glass structures, with the Pagoda Street entrance having a pavilion-style transparent roof structure and the DTL entrance having an elliptical shape. The station features 2 artworks as part of the MRT Network's Art in Transit program. The NEL concourse and platforms feature calligraphy as part of the Phoenix's Eye domain by Tan Sui Hyun, while the DTL concourse walls feature artworks of clotheslines as part of Flying Colors by Cheo Chai Hyung. History. Northeast Line Station, 1996 to 2003 underground platforms of the NEL, with calligraphic writing on the floor at the left. NEL platform level. Chinatown Station was first announced as People's Park Station, along with the 15 other Northeast Line (NEL) stations, by Communications Minister Ma Bo-tan on March 4, 1996. The contract for the design and construction of the station, Contract 709, was awarded to a joint venture between Gammon Construction and Econ Piling in June 1997 at 141.5 million Singapore dollars, 141 million US dollars in 2020. The construction of the NEL station was one of the most challenging projects on the line. Arterial roads like New Bridge Road, Eu Tong Sen Street, and connecting streets had to be rerouted, closed and reinstated several times. These closures took place through 7 major phases and numerous sub-stages from December 1997 to March 2002. The bus stops had to be shifted accordingly. As a result of the rerouted roads and the construction barriers, pedestrians had to take longer routes around the construction site to their desired destinations. In addition, businesses in the area were affected by the noise and construction dust, leading to tarnished goods and a decrease in patronage. The contractors made efforts to minimize these effects, such as using quieter machinery and cleaning the vehicles exiting the worksite. During the Lunar New Year in 2001, a temporary bridge was constructed to connect the 2 sides of Pagoda Street so pedestrians could walk over the entrance worksite. Following engagements with the local community, the Land Transport Authority, LTA, implemented measures such as shifting worksite hoarding aside to maximize walking space, working with artists to paint the worksite panels, minimizing the worksite space at Pagoda Street and renovating the Garden Bridge to allow its integration with the station. A temporary taxi stand was installed at Upper Cross Street to serve the retail development of Chinatown Point. The LTA also built a temporary pedestrian staircase from the shops along New Bridge Road to the Garden Bridge. Prior to the construction, the utilities of the site had to be diverted at a cost of 7 million Singapore dollars, 7 million US dollars in 2020, so the utilities were not damaged during the station's construction. The utilities had to be protected or substituted during the maneuver, and took some time due to the poor documentation of the location of the old pipes and cables. The Eu Tong Sen Canal running through the station site had to be dismantled and diverted into 4 300 meters, 980 feet, steel pipes to connect the unaffected parts of the canal. It was planned to use steel beams to support the canal during ground excavation and the station's construction, but this would risk damaging the canal, causing the site to flood. The more time-consuming and expensive alternative to divert the canal into the 2.1 meters, 6.9 feet, diameter pipes would minimize such risks and allow sufficient space for the construction machinery. The LTA engineers decided to implement this alternative, which became one of the largest drainage diversion projects in Singapore. The pipes were suspended below the temporary road decking. After the station's construction, the canal, now wider and deeper, was rebuilt above the station. The Garden Bridge spanning over the roads of Eu Tong Sen Street and New Bridge Road. The Garden Bridge, pictured in 2018, was underpinned during the construction. The construction also involved the preservation of Garden Bridge as it is a social and cultural landmark in Chinatown. Initially, there were plans to dismantle the bridge due to the columns and foundations being in the way of MRT works, but the LTA reversed its decision and decided to underpin the bridge using massive steel trusses. Certain sections of the bridge's central support were cut away to allow more space for efficient excavation and construction. The support columns were rebuilt after the station's completion. Due to the soft marine clay above the stable sedimentary soil, there were a few cave-ins at the site during construction. On July 3, 1999, an unused section of the old canal caved in, forming a hole 3 meters, (9.8 feet) deep. Several I-beams, a compressor and a small machine, which fell into the hole, were retrieved using a crane. It was discovered that some soil had seeped through a gap in the perimeter wall of the station, resulting in the collapse of the structure. The gap was made to accommodate a sewer pipe. In the evening of 22nd of November, a section of Eu Tong Sen Street collapsed, and it was closed along with neighboring streets. The collapse formed a 8 by 5 meter, 26 by 16 feet, hole with a depth of up to 1 meter, 3.3 feet. Nobody was injured and the surrounding buildings remained intact. On 2nd of December that year, a 2 centimeter, 0.79 in, depression, along with cracks, was discovered on the road 15 meters, 49 feet, away from the cave-in site, resulting in another road closure. It was found during an inspection of soil movement above the tunneling machine underneath the street. One of the lanes remained open for buses. The road was dug open to inspect the utility pipes, cables and the 2 steel pipes underneath the road. Cement was pumped into the ground to stabilize the soil before the road was reopened to traffic on 5th of December. By mid-2002, the major roads were reinstated with most of the construction work complete. In conjunction with the station's opening, the surrounding shopping complexes People's Park Complex and the OG Shopping Center underwent renovations and redevelopment. The former Majestic Theater near the station had also been refurbished and converted into a retail mall. With the NEL commencing services on June 20, 2003, it was expected that the station would bring further development to the area with more investments and crowds. Downtown Line Station and further plans, 2007 to 2013. During the NEL station's construction, provisions were made for Chinatown Station to link with a future MRT line. In October 1997, it was announced that the station would become the terminus of the proposed 12-kilometer, 7.5 miles, Marina Line. In subsequent plans, however, the Chinatown branch was scrapped. The project was scaled down to 6 stations that would form the first stage of the Circle Line, CCL. On April 26, 2005, Today reported that soil tests were being conducted around Chinatown Station, raising speculations of a possible rail link between Chinatown and Marina Bay via a new developing downtown. However, the LTA expressed they had yet to decide whether to build such a line. On 14th of June, the LTA announced that Chinatown Station would be the terminus of the Downtown Extension, DTE, from Ienia Station, now Promenade. The DTE, initially planned to be a branch of the CCL, was revised to be the first stage of the Downtown Line, DTL, in 2007. In preparation for the DTL construction, the utilities underneath Cross Street and Upper Cross Street were diverted into a 500-meter, 1,600 feet, long common utility trench, CUT. The 7-meter, 23 feet, wide and 3.5-meter, 11 feet, deep cut, located along Pickering Street and Church Street, was constructed using the cut-and-cover method. The contract for the cut construction was awarded to Huaseng Builder Private Limited on August 18, 2006 for 6.4 million Singapore dollars, $4 million US. Contract 909 for the construction of the DTL station and associated tunnels was awarded to Gammon Construction at 160.3 million Singapore dollars, $106.4 million in August 2007. On February 12, 2008, the LTA held a ceremony at this station to mark the beginning of the DTL's construction. During the construction, traffic was diverted to Cross Street and Upper Cross Street from March 2007 to the end of June 2008. The area in front of Hong Lim Complex and Chinatown Point had been closed off to build the support wall for the station and tunnels. Subsequently, a section of Upper Cross Street between Yue Hua Building and Block 34 was realigned from January 18, 2010 until the station's completion in 2013. On January 17, 2013, the then Minister of Transport Lui Tuk-yu visited the station, where he announced the 2013 Land Transport Master Plan. An open house was held on December 7, 2013, before the DTL station commenced operations on 22nd of December. The station was the terminus of the line until the opening of DTL Stage 3 to Expo Station on October 21, 2017. Extending the DTL tunnels from Chinatown to Fort Canning Station was a challenge, due to the narrow space between two Housing and Development Board (HDB) blocks and the State Court along the route. In addition, the contractors had to divert the Singapore River for the tunnel's construction. The DTL tunnels had to be stacked to overcome the space constraints. Before deciding on the route taken through the Singapore River, 20 other tunnel routes were considered by LTA engineers but were deemed too unsafe or too damaging to the environment or both. The diversion of the river was necessary as tunneling underneath would risk sinking or flooding. The tunnel boring machine used could be obstructed by debris that remained stuck into the riverbed. There were considerations to dam the river, but it would have disrupted businesses and tour boat operations along the river. The river diversion, which started in 2012, involved removing components of the river embankment, constructing a series of dams, strengthening the soil and excavating a new 40 by 100 by 7 meter, 131 by 328 by 23 feet, canal on the river's west bank. After the canal was built, part of the original river course was drained and filled with soil for the tunnel's construction. The debris along the tunnel's routes were removed using piling rigs before tunneling works commenced. To ensure the construction would not pollute the river, which is connected to the Marina Reservoir, the LTA had to maintain adequate hydraulic flows. After boring through the area, the river was realigned to its original course. Station details. Location. The station is located within the Singapore Chinese ethnic enclave of Chinatown. The Nell station is situated underground between Eu Tong Sen Street and New Bridge Road, while the DTL is underneath Cross Street. The Nell site was chosen to avoid having to demolish the historical shophouses and buildings in the area. In addition, this station site is closely linked to shopping centers and busy pedestrian areas, such as Chinatown Point, Hong Lim Complex, People's Park Complex and the Majestic. Surrounding landmarks include the religious sites of Buddha Tooth Relic Temple, Masjid Jamae, Chulia, Fairfield Methodist Church, the Sri Mariamman Temple and the Sri Layan City Vinayagar Temple. The station serves public amenities including the State Courts, Family Justice Courts, Chinatown Visitor Center and the Kreta Ayer Community Center. Services. Chinatown Station is served by the Nell and DTL. The station code is NE4DT19 as reflected on official maps. On the Nell, the station is between the Outram Park and Clark Quay stations, with trains running every 2.5 to 5 minutes, depending on peak hours. On the DTL, the station is between the TELLCAST and Fort Canning stations, with trains on the line passing every 2.5 to 5 minutes. Design. The station has 2 underground levels and 6 entrances. The Nell station has a length of 281 meters, 922 feet, and a depth of 25 meters, 82 feet. The station is unusually long, allowing connections to various surrounding places of interest. Alluding to the area's rich Oriental culture, the station is decorated with Chinese calligraphy on the floors of the station platforms and concourse as well as a mural on the wall across the concourse. The DTL station is 450 meters, 1,480 feet, long, with plans to connect the station with the adjacent TELLCAST station via an underground retail link. The Nell station is designated as a Civil Defense (CD) shelter. It is designed to accommodate at least 7,500 people and withstand airstrikes and chemical attacks. Equipment essential for the operations in the CD shelter is mounted on shock absorbers to prevent damage during a bombing. When electrical supply to the shelter is disrupted, there are backup generators to keep operations going. The shelter has dedicated built-in decontamination chambers and dry toilets with collection bins that will send human waste out of the shelter. The NEL and DTL platforms are wheelchair accessible. A tactile system, consisting of tiles with rounded or elongated raised studs, guides visually impaired commuters through the station, with dedicated routes that connect the station entrances to the platforms or between the lines. There are wider fare gates that allow easier access for wheelchair users into the station. Exit A to Pagoda Street features a pavilion-style transparent roof structure which provides an unobstructed view of the shophouses and allows natural light into the station. As Pagoda Street is in a low-lying area vulnerable to flooding, the entrance has a mechanical flood barrier, eliminating the need to elevate the entrance to a level that would obstruct the view of the street. During a flood, water would flow into a chamber underneath the barrier's floor, causing the barrier to rise against the overflow. The other station entrances employ glass structures that allow views of the surrounding developments and natural lighting. The new elliptical entrance serving the DTL station reflects the elliptical facade of the nearby Hong Lim complex. Public artwork. The station displays two artworks as part of the MRT network's Art in Transit program, a showcase of public artworks on the MRT network. The Phoenix's Eye Domain. Tan Sui Hian's The Phoenix's Eye Domain is a wall mural representing the journey of Singapore's Chinese immigrants, supplemented by a poem written in 3 sets of rhyming couplets. The colorful mural, depicting a soaring phoenix in various forms, is displayed at the NEL concourse level, while the poem is engraved on the floors of the station platforms and concourse. The artist intended for the poem to be a footnote to the mural, while the mural is supposed to be a visual realization of the poem. Taking inspiration from the description of the mythical phoenix in the Chinese classic text Shanhai Jing, the artist uses the phoenix as a symbol of perseverance and strength of the first Chinese settlers. Not intending to just use recognizable depictions of old Chinatown, Tan wished to capture the enduring and noble spirit of the ancestors, who are depicted in the artwork as helping build modern-day Singapore. In the mural, the phoenix flies over the waterfront of Singapore, which is by 2 criss-shaped rocks. These 2 rocks, which once existed at the water's edge, were used as indicators by early Chinese navigators, who referred to Singapore as the Dragon's Teeth Gate. Written on the phoenix's body are 5 characters, each with different meanings: virtue, righteousness, civility, benevolence, and credibility, regarded to be the 5 core values of man. In another section of the artwork, the phoenix is shown in its full glory, being surrounded by a myriad of birds. This was intended to be an auspicious sign of Singapore's prosperity. In the last segment of the mural, the birds and phoenix combine into one, symbolizing the universal energy of the cycle of life. The coolies on the mural are depicted as victorious strong men in classical Greek style rather than defeated laborers, as the artist felt the laborers were already well built. Before the artwork was reproduced in the United Kingdom, Tan first drew out the work by hand. Instead of watering them down via a painting medium, Tan applied oil and acrylic paints directly onto the canvas. This was done to accomplish vibrant color transitions for the work. However, it was difficult to reproduce this color treatment when the mural was being produced in the United Kingdom. Through experimentation, the specialist company in Birmingham adopted a 7-color process to closely match the original's colors on the final artwork in vitreous enamel. The poetry, composed in a semi-cursive calligraphic script, employs the couplet, a pair of complementary verses set side by side. The calligraphy was first written in ink on rice paper before being scanned onto a computer and reproduced on the 1.2 square meters, 13 square feet, granite tiles. Each of the Chinese characters was cut out from gray slabs and inlaid into slabs of a darker tone, hollowed out for the characters. Placing the work on the floor, however, was considered unusual, as calligraphic works were usually placed on walls in auspicious positions. Tan explained that since life comes from Earth, the Earth is as auspicious as the sky. The artist intended to lay the characters on the same Earth the first settlers had set foot on. Flying Colors. The DTL concourse level features Flying Colors by Cheo Chai-hyung. The artwork depicts several clotheslines, a scene representing Singapore's high-rise HDB flats. The clotheslines changes slightly when viewed from different angles, i.e., a lenticular print. The artist sought to transform the mundane aspect of the scenery into something festive and celebratory, while creating an illusion of clothes flying in the wind. The angle of the clotheslines directs commuters to the platforms. The DTL artwork has drawn mixed reactions from other artists. Jeremy Sharma, the artist of Holland Beat at Holland Village Station, regarded the work as original and attractive with a lot of playful humor. On the other hand, Yek Wong, the artist who created the artwork at One North Station, felt that the work did not quite deliver the concept and suggested it could be more visually engaging.